Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about how a person can tell if they're getting better after they've been through, some kind of like what some people just call these days narcissistic abuse, or bad breakup, something which may have involved it. I don't think there is any way that any one person can tell you that you're getting better who's not your counselor. Okay, licensed professional counselor, whatever it is where you live, licensed by the state, not a, anybody else, but not even a life coach to tell you that you're getting better, that you're on the mend. So, okay, as for me, I don't think I will ever feel that way, totally over it and, beyond. I've seen too much in my life, and these days I've mentioned that I call where I live Narcissismville, but I see it too often. It's, I see it just going to a store or just driving down the road. I cannot imagine anybody saying that they've never experienced anything or even known anybody to be narcissistic, unless they are very extremely sheltered. Don't turn on their TV, don't watch the news, just are by themselves their whole life. That's not even healthy. That's definitely not healthy to me. This is all my opinion. Read the disclaimer in the description box below this video on YouTube. But anyway, so I really see that nobody can tell you if you're healed, that you are healed. I think you're always in recovery. Some people think that they are. So, but for me, like I said, I've seen so much. I don't think I would ever be totally, I don't believe in anybody's ever total recovery from this. I think things get better. I think things change for you, and you change yourself. And one of the things I think that is very important, or two things actually. Okay. Now, what I think is two things that are very important to it, at least for me, is one is to acknowledge that these people, diagnosed or maybe not. I'm not diagnosing them, but some were diagnosed by a professional counselor with, I'm not going to, I've already said it in another video, but borderline. Now, and they have no intention of changing. Okay, I'm talking about people who have no intention of changing, and their behaviors are really bad. But for me, myself, to heal is to have acceptance of that. Accept that they are disordered, and it's not going to change in any of them. They're always going to be this way. Because especially those who have no intention, all of them, none of them, have any intention of ever changing. They don't see anything wrong with themselves. That's one of them. Okay, and yes, I have seen and read plenty that says that some of the cluster Bs can get counseling and learn to control it, at least, or something. I've heard one of them, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get this wrong, but it was a book about that they treat narcissists, and I think it's schema therapy. I could be wrong. I could be wrong on all this. But yeah, I would not hold out hope for that at all. Especially, like I said, if they don't think there's anything wrong with them. But anyway, that's the first one. And the second one is forgiveness. Yeah, forgive them. That's the toughest thing in the world. But like you may have heard many people say, the forgiveness is for yourself. You forgive them and you move on. They didn't know what they were doing. They are disordered, totally screwed up in the head. Some put it that way. They're just totally messed up. And you state that's what it is, and you're accepting that's what it is. They're not going to change. It's always going to be that way. I can forgive them because they're that messed up, but I don't have to be around them. Okay? And I understand that there are different theories about how and why, say, a narcissist becomes one. And most often what I've heard, read, studied, whatever, is that it was developed. It's developmental. To me, personally, I wonder. Sometimes I think that it had nothing to do with it. I think genetically, they were genetically vulnerable to it. And then, it's nature nurture. Then something happened that, made them become more of a narcissist. But I think there's a nature part to it. There's a biological part to it. And I know a lot of people like me, we all have families, and we have, if we have siblings, if you have a sibling. I have 4. So, yeah. You wonder why is it not you? And like I'm saying, there's that nurture side to it. The parent picking one to be that, the one that's basically more gullible, really. But some would use the term malleable. Boy, I don't know. Anyway, I do think that it's important to say I would say to myself, I can't give anybody any advice, but just to say they're not going to change, and I have to accept that. I have to forgive them. They were once, of course not maybe, but a child, and this is what happened to them. Okay, forgive that part. Forgive that. And I think we can all forgive a child being abused, but then after that, some say it's a choice for them, because yes, sometimes they can act, and that, I think that's the important word, act like someone who's not disordered, okay, not cluster B disordered, okay, they can act that way, but it's just an act. I personally believe it's just an act. It's not their personality. It's not permanent. It's only temporary. And that is part of the disorder itself, that it's all an act. Okay. And what after that? Well, I think, of course, it's different for every person. Once they start accepting things, and there's more to that, but once they really start accepting what it is, and they forgive that poor, that when it was a child, when this person was a child, what about the person, the person in recovery? What's different about them? Okay, and I think one of the things for me would to not let this become more of it's like an obsession of worrying what they're thinking about, what they're doing, what's their next step. But we do this because of survival reasons too, and also just having it on my mind all the time, which is kind of difficult since I do videos on this topic, which I've done them for maybe 3.5 years. I don't remember, but for the past, I'd say 2 years, I've wanted to stop, because really, this is how my life is now. I get my enjoyment in life is more of I've mentioned this before, is feeding wildlife. Adam calls it one minute he'll say animal sanctuary, and another minute he'll say something like my nature preserve. And I have, I don't own them. They're there on their own free will. But a couple of possums, seriously, a couple of possums, several squirrels. I've seen at least 5 gathered at one time. Rabbits, at least 2. And lots of birds, and pigeons, mainly pigeons, cardinals, blue jays, and I have a woodpecker, at least one, that always shows up. An owl too, along this line. And watching them I feed them, watching them, seeing how as time has gone by, they're not afraid of me. Like the rabbit, one of the rabbits sits right there while I go out and feed. These are feral animals, and this is how I get my enjoyment. And I'm not using it as escapism, but to be able to find your own interest in life, something that makes you feel good, something that you enjoy doing, that does not have to involve that person or those people. You don't have to be thinking about them. It's your own kind of like, in a way, meditation, I guess. Something that really is what you enjoy. And I think that's important, to find what you enjoy, but to watch out for escapism, looking for escapism from everything. But I enjoy doing that. I enjoy watching and reading anything from like the late 1800s to early 1900s. That's fiction. Okay, like Murdoch mysteries. I mentioned that in a video before and I said it wrong. I said Murdoch murderers, but no, Murdoch mysteries. And I enjoy that show. I really do. I have it on Hulu, and then it's also on demand and on TV too. Just regular cable, I guess. Ovation. And along this line, find something that is not escapism, but is, okay. For me these days, it's like I want to pull away from doing the videos on like narcissistic behaviors, cluster B behaviors, just any kind of abuse. And maybe, I've said this before though, maybe move more toward healing. What I feel about healing from these. I'm not a life coach. I never will say I'm a life coach. I won't ask for money. Yeah, that's something that I want to maybe mention a little bit. Once again, last night, I kind of looked over and looked on look for YouTube videos on the topic of narcissism. Every once in a while I'll do that. And once again, I got that creepy feeling. I've made videos about this, I don't know how many times since I started making them, like 3.5, 4 years ago, whenever, and found that there was an actual community of people who do them. Is, the people who are doing it for monetary gain, they're not what they are. Well, they are. They're claiming to be life coaches. And it's not a claim. They're stating it. Anybody can be a life coach. At least here, anybody can. But the way they put it off is as though they're good at counseling. Counselors here, it's illegal to say you're doing counseling or you're a counselor here if you're not licensed by the state as a counselor. And life coaches are not licensed by the state as a counselor unless they actually are originally a counselor who's licensed. So, yeah. But anyway, I just got that creepy feeling again. I kind of don't want to be in any way associated with that type, but my audience has always been very small. I just don't have to be that charismatic and do my videos the right way, organize my thoughts. Mine are more stream of consciousness and just vlogs. So, yeah. Anyway. Okay, but like I said, it gave me that creepy feeling of what some of them do. That some would say they are narcissists. I'm not going to diagnose them. That are claiming to be. No, they're not claiming. They are not life coaches, and then really, to getting money from people. So I don't want to be associated with that. I just don't want to be associated with that kind of thing at all. So so I've been wanting to move on. This I think is some kind of, for me, a part of recovery is wanting to move on from there and maybe start talking about my own, which, like I said, I don't think I will ever be completely healed. I just personally don't think anybody is from this kind of abuse. It's a move on kind of thing to me. I could be wrong, like I said a million times. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because now I'm getting silly. If you want to subscribe to this channel and you haven't already, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click on the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share on your own social media if you would, and I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.